Hi there. Today we're going to be recapping the past 20 years in my custom hood called Becket Ridge. I play this hood rotationally, and I play the game as though 1 day equals 1 year, and I have played 5 rounds, which is equivalent to 20 sim years. If you think this is something that you would enjoy, if you like custom hoods, or you just like Sims 2 gameplay in general, I would love it if you would join us. We will be starting round 6 very soon. The first family are the Fallers, and they live here at this small, quaint yellow home that they purchased not long ago. This is their daughter, Destiny, who recently aged up into a teen. Is Haley and Garrett. And they also have a cat named Tia that they adopted from the animal shelter. Now let's go ahead and go back in time and check out what happened. Haley owns the clothing store. And she has owned this from the very beginning when she lived at the corner apartment. Garrett also happened to live at this corner apartment, and that is how they met. They started seeing each other, going on dates to the beach and to parks, and just enjoying each other's company around Becket Ridge. Garrett owns the Lighthouse Cove restaurant. His hobby is cuisine, and he has a love for cooking. But he did start out with meager beginnings. He had no employees, and it was just him cooking, being the podium person, and being the waiter. It was really tough in the beginning for him. One day they decided to go skating, and Haley popped the question to Garrett. And he, of course, accepted her proposal. They got married at the beach and invited all of their friends. It was a beautiful ceremony, and they followed it shortly after with a reception as well. Shortly after the wedding, Haley discovered she was expecting. They were so happy. They were over the moon excited to welcome their first daughter, Destiny. Destiny soon after had her toddler birthday. They invited over their friends, including Wendy and some of their other friends that they've met in Becket Ridge. And Destiny was gifted with this rocking horse, which she loved. They soon moved to the little yellow house that we saw at the beginning. They were ready for more space, and they were both doing well with their businesses. That winter, they visited the Christmas tree farm, and Santa even visited, and he gifted Destiny with a remote control car. Garrett's restaurant continued to do well. He did eventually hire an employee, Carlos, who we will see later on in another video. Carlos was an orphan at the orphanage. Destiny became really good friends with Brendan, who was another toddler in the hood at the time. And when it was time for Destiny's childhood birthday, they did kind of a hybrid party. They had everyone gather at the park so that the kids could play, and then they later gathered back at home so that she could blow out her birthday candles. Destiny grew into an adorable little girl who loved to do artwork, although that wasn't her hobby. Her hobby was actually cuisine, which I'm looking forward to her maybe working down in her dad's restaurant one day. The family also adopted a little kitten named Tia from the animal shelter. Haley's store is also continuing to do well. She even added in a little wedding suite upstairs where Sims can come and try on wedding clothes. Haley also helps out Garrett at times down at the restaurant, and she does the podium so that him and Carlos can take care of the customers. Not long ago, they celebrated Destiny's teen birthday, and she aged into a very cute little teen who I'm so excited to see what she decides to do next. Next, we have the Macintoshes. They own this farm. Make our way into their house. This is Logan Macintosh, Wendy Macintosh, their son Brendan Macintosh, and baby Frankie Macintosh. They also have stray animals because Wendy, we will get into her story here in a bit, but Wendy had the animal shelter, and she was not about to give that up and let the stray animals of Becket Ridge down. So they do continue that mission out here in the back. But let's go ahead and see their story. So he owned this farm. He did a lot of work on it. He was single at the time, and so he was pretty much responsible for everything. One day he did go down to the gym and he met Wendy, who he was smitten with. He really liked Wendy and really wanted to get to know her more. So eventually he did end up inviting Wendy over for dinner. And let's just say they hit it off. Wendy owned the animal shelter at the time. So she lived here with all of her animals that she cared for until someone was ready to adopt. One day, Wendy invited Logan over to the animal shelter to show him around. And of course, their relationship was growing even deeper. And Wendy, she was ready. She was ready to take the next step. And so she decided that she was ready to pop the question. And Logan, of course, said yes. Shortly after, Wendy discovered she was expecting. So they moved it along even quicker and had a lovely wedding right there on the farm. Shortly after that, the baby arrived. A happy, healthy baby boy that they named Brendan. Brendan had his toddler birthday, and he grew up looking just like his dad. The animals had their own barn on the farm. They had everything they needed in the barn, lots of love and companionship. Now, so that Wendy could still sell animal supplies, they opened up a separate animal pet shop. Brendan later had his child birthday. Everything seemed to be going great, but behind the scenes, everything wasn't so great. Unfortunately, Wendy found herself in a really bad situation that she rather enjoyed with Jason Daly, the musician, and Becket Ridge. They were having a little secret fling, and one day they got caught at Shiloh's house. Logan caught them and was furious with Wendy, but they did make it through that situation, and Wendy and Jason since then have stopped and kind of cooled it on that, so that hasn't happened. They ended up having kittens, a litter of kittens with their 2 adult cats, and they were able to adopt them out. Brendan has been playing soccer. That is his hobby, and he has regular soccer games and practices down at the sports field. Wendy learned that she was expecting again, and they were over the moon excited. They ended up having another little boy that they named Frankie. He was just too adorable. Frankie eventually had his toddler birthday, and in my opinion, he looks like his mama. Ended up moving to a new farm after they had a catastrophe and an insurance claim on their old farm. They were able to rebuild, and Wendy learned that she was pregnant again. Brendan ended up having his teen birthday, and that brings us to current day with the Macintoshes. So next we have Amanda and Finn. This is Finn standing out here. He is the school teacher in the hood, and this is their home. This is Amanda Charbo, their daughter Valerie Charbo, their son Trevin Charbo. Valerie and Trevin are twins. And then they have their teen daughter here, Amari Charbo. So let's go ahead and get into their story. And they hit it off from the very beginning. They met each other at one of the Becket Ridge meet and greets and knew from the very beginning that they were meant for each other. Now, Amanda lived at one of the very small apartments, and she always was working on her toy making because she did own the baby and toy store. So she wanted to work on increasing her skills so she could make more toys. So her baby and toy store was pretty successful. She sold the baby furniture, supplies, and all of the toys for the hood. She often would invite Finn over so they could have dinner together. And they just got closer to one another over time. One day they decided to go to the park to go fishing. This was down at the town square, and it was a lovely summer day. They met a lot of their neighbors down there. They played soccer as well. and Amanda decided to pop the question to Finn. After that, they waited a while on their wedding, and they enjoyed the rest of the summer together, going to the pool and doing lots of fun things around Becket Ridge. Amanda's friends threw her a bridal shower, and they all brought her some gifts to celebrate the exciting engagement. Finn was the school teacher. Now, he had a bumpy road. He first got fired from his first education career, but he found another job in another school district. So he is the teacher of the Little Red Schoolhouse in Becket Ridge. The Little Red Schoolhouse had meager beginnings, only 4 children, and they were all orphans from the orphanage. It was a combination of the children and the teens, all in one room with Finn. They worked on their homework, they worked on badging, they worked on skills. And they also would have lunch together. Now, Finn also invited Amanda over to his house, where they planned to live after the wedding. They eventually did have the wedding. They did it at the church. And they shortly after had their first baby, Amari. Amari soon grew into a toddler, and they decided to get a new house with more space. They're both being family sims, they knew that they planned to have more children. Now, Amanda was lucky enough to get the super fertility. They enjoyed the winter, taking Amari to the park. And some of the holiday festivities. Amanda soon discovered she was pregnant again. They welcomed their twins, Trevin and Valerie. Amari had her birthday. And she grew into a cute little girl. In my opinion, she looks just like her mom. The babies soon grew into toddlers, and this whole time with this going around in rounds in Becket Ridge, the schoolhouse is filling up kid by kid. You can see Destiny and Brendan, who we previously recapped in this video. It was still the perfect size for the amount of kids that we had. The twins had their birthdays and they grew into cute little children. Unfortunately, Trevin grew up badly. Valerie decided she loves princesses and loves to wear her princess dress. Amanda invested in a bigger toy store where she can sell more toys and baby items to the community. Finn continues to run the schoolhouse, and there are so many kids now that the town is going to invest in enlarging the school. Also, Amari had her teen birthday. Thank you so much for joining me on this 20-year sim recap of my custom hood Becket Ridge. This is going to be in parts, and we will continue to recap the rest of the Sims in the hood. I do play this hood rotationally, and it's taken me a little less than a year and a half to get through 20 sim years. But if you're a new viewer, I hope this gives you a good recap of what has happened. And if you've been here for a while, I hope this was fun to watch, to just look back on what we've seen the Sims go through. Thank you again for watching, and stay tuned for part 2.